My mantra for this year is be your own ownership. Take your own responsibility. If you don't like where you are, change it. Listen to all these wonderful podcasts that we all put out. These are people who have taken the journey. Learn from them. Apply. And I think one of the things that we need to understand is, who are we? How do we listen? How do we hear? How do we interact? From what standpoint? From what personality trait? Because when we are more aware of self, we're more aware of the way we communicate with others. Always put your truth out, your authenticity out, show that you care and that you're interested in what other people do, and invite a conversation. Because when people feel they can converse with you, they feel they can trust you, they're more interested in what you have to offer, and so more interested in dealing with you.
And that is coming up next on Bootstrapping Your Dreams Show, so stay tuned. So, the big question is this: how are ambitious people like us, who don't have a lot of resources, did not go to Ivy League colleges, were not born into wealth, how do we become resourceful enough, use our creativity, our dedication, and a little bit of crazy to bootstrap our way to realizing our dreams? Whether it is launching a new company, launching a new app, or making it to the top of the corporate ladder? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. We have created a tremendous community of bootstrappers, entrepreneurs, and professionals who are ambitious, resourceful, and want to get things done. We brainstorm, support, and help each other out. So come join us. Navigate to bootstrapping.group, join today, and get the Startup Founders Technology Accelerator video series absolutely free. If you enjoy this video, then do let us know by hitting that like button now. Or if you want us to improve our content, then go ahead and hit that thumbs down button and give us your honest feedback in the comment section below. Here at Tatternoodle, we are passionate about entrepreneurship, technology, and innovation. Every week, we bring you insightful and engaging videos, interviews, tips, tricks, and strategies to help you grow your business or rise in your corporate profession. If you're new here, please do consider subscribing, and do not forget to hit that bell icon so that you are notified when we publish new content. Welcome to this new episode of Bootstrapping Your Dreams Show. I'm your host Manuj Aggarwal, and today we'll be talking with Sara Troy. Sara is the owner and host of SelfDiscovery Media and Discovering Communities Network, is constantly inspired by the interviews she does with ordinary people doing extraordinary things. It shows her and her audience just how empowering we can be when we decide to step into our own self-discovery. Sara is a speaker, blog writer, and has her own Discovery of Self program. Sara is expanding her repertoire to special organizations and courses who need a voice. SelfDiscovery Media has a community member directory for those who wish to share their knowledge and wisdom in the service of others. Welcome, Sara.
Thank you very much. Wow. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, you're doing some amazing things. I'd love to know about your story. How did you get started? What inspired you to start this organization and this movement? Please take us down the memory lane and tell us how this all came about.
Well, I am a spiritual counselor by God's design. So I've always been there in a state of knowingness for what people need to know when they need to know it. But I have taken many, many journeys in life, and whatever journey I did take, it always brought me back to that place. But in 2012, I had a crossroads, and I actually went into a depression after I had invested in a technology that, a whole different story, but it didn't pan out. And I just didn't quite know where to go. And I wrote an article on depression. I also stepped up to help a few people because that's what helps me. Somebody took notice of it and said, I think you should have your own show on my network. So for 13 months, I did a show on her network, which was live. A really good training ground when it is live. And I decided I needed to branch out and have more voices and reach more people. So I opened up my own. Nice. So it's almost 8 years of hosting, and in June will be 7 years of my own network.
Awesome. That's great. Yeah. And something you said really, needs to be reiterated, that helping others, it actually, gives you a lot of strength.
Yeah.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about that, because it's interesting that you went through a depression and you went through some hardship, but yet you were able to find that courage to help others, and tell us what that experience sort of did to you and how it helped you.
I'm a person that has to be in purpose. If I don't have a purpose, I don't see the point of me. And so if I get into a flux like that, I need to reach out to others and help others, because then I feel I'm contributing. I believe we're all here to contribute. Our self-discovery is discover our wonderful instrument, discover our orchestra, and create the music that gets everybody up and dances. So I think it's very, very important that when we do face any walls of anxiety or depression or obstacles, that we look to how we can help others, because it does feed us. That gratitude, that just making a difference in somebody's life. It is a wonderful seed within us that grows. And I think it makes one hell of a difference, not only to them, but to us as well.
For sure. No, I completely agree with that. But the puzzling thing here is that we live in this materialistic society, and everybody's sort of trying to outsmart each other, and outwork each other, and out hustle each other, and everybody's running towards materialistic things, and this notion of helping others, it is sort of a lost art. So how do you make sure that we get more people involved in this movement, and sort of help them move into the next decade, or the next era that is coming up with AI and new technologies and everything, where the human element, human touch, will be even more important moving forward?
I think we have to look at what is currency. When we talk currency, we talk money. And I think we actually have to understand what is the true abundance. What is the enrichment? The enrichment lies in the soul, in the character, in the spirit, in the heart of a person, in the givingness, the kindness, the caring. When you spend your kindness and your caring, you literally lift people up to love, which is a higher frequency, a higher vibration, which allows other things to grow more abundantly. So if we could change our perspective and stop looking at money as being the power. Nothing wrong with money if you know what to do with it. If you have the wisdom of how to seed it, how to enable other people to grow, if you're producing something that helps other people. But if you become a slave to the image, to the ego, to the money, you are a very poor person within your heart and your soul. And I've interviewed many a person that's taken that path. And it's a realization for them that they were slaving away to maintain the big house, the fast car, the big image, and they were empty inside. And it's only when they decided to redirect and truly go and do something that meant something to them, that really was a contribution to humanity, that they really discovered what the true riches of life are. So I think it's our own self-discovery. My mantra for this year is be your own ownership. Take your own responsibility. If you don't like where you are, change it. Listen to all these wonderful podcasts that we all put out. These are people who have taken the journey. Learn from them. Apply. And as a new word I've put out there, actionism. Take actionism. Don't sit back and think it's somebody else's fault or somebody else has got to do it for me. We have to step up in our own lives.
Yeah, no, so true. I'll tell you a quick story. Over the weekend, I went to a meditation retreat, and I do that every 2 or 3 months to just sort of get the tune up that I need. And a lot of things that came up was we stand in our own way. Like as you said, like I was always telling myself, if this happens in January, I'm gonna do this. If this happens, I'm gonna do this. What I realized was I need to do that so that whatever I want in January to happen will happen. And otherwise, otherwise I'm doing it opposite, right? And that's how we stand in our own way. So it's so interesting that you had the same sort of conclusion.
It's important that we don't stand in our own way, and that is actually when we're too much in our own head.
Yeah, exactly.
And society's expectation. We don't bring our other cylinders into play. the heart, the soul, and the spirit, and even the body, because if we're constantly tense, that means the body is reacting to something wrong. Yeah. So we've really got to learn to be in tune and take those retreats and take a breath. Yeah. And align ourselves, because only when we find that alignment do we really understand what lays before us and what we need to do.
So true, so true. Especially for entrepreneurs, we're all running in 500 different directions, and so much is going on. I find that just taking that one weekend can give me so much clarity that I cannot get it. Talking to 10 different coaches on different strategies and tactics, or going through multiple podcasts. So take that time, time to clear your head, and it really, really helps move forward, whatever you are working on. So that's my advice for sure. Yeah.
And know your technique. What is your meditation? For some people, maybe going hiking, canoeing, camping, whatever it is that has you in tune with you and your beautiful universe.
Exactly. No, that's so true. So that leads me to the next question, self-discovery, because I find that a lot of people, they just sort of catch one thread which has been given to them by society and just run with it all the time. Mm-hmm. And they don't take some time to do self-discovery and figure out what do they really want out of life. So what has your experience been in this regard, and where do you stand in terms of your own self-discovery?
My own self-discovery has literally been lifelong. I think one of the things, an epiphany that happened to me in 2001 is when I took the True Colors, the Myers and Briggs, and I understood our 4 different personality traits, the way we interact and the way we perceive knowledge given to us. And I have my own course that I do of this discovery of self. And I think one of the things that we need to understand is, who are we? How do we listen? How do we hear? How do we interact? From what standpoint? From what personality trait? Because when we are more aware of self, we're more aware of the way we communicate with others. Mm-hmm. And we know that sometimes we have to be versatile. I'm a screaming blue person. I will always speak from the cosmic universal energy. But I may be speaking to somebody who needs to know the science and the data and the proof. And I can't speak to him in that. All I can do is put enough maybe seeding or wonderment in him that or her that makes them want to go off and investigate for themselves. So know your strength of language. Know your strength of personality. Don't try and be everything. You can't be. This is where your team is important, that you have somebody that's representative of all those other personality traits on your team. And that you look at things from every angle and not just flat on one point. We're not linear. We're not flat. Nothing about it is straightforward black and white. Everything about us is shading and coloring and different heights and different dimensions, and we've got to be aware of that. So I think first and foremost, know who you are. Once you know who you are, you actually know more of what you want and what you're capable of doing. And if you know what you're capable of doing, it sparks an interest or a desire or a passion within you to explore it and ignite it and see where it goes. But if you don't know who you are, all you're doing is dabbling in the waters all the time and living by somebody else's expectation or dictation and not being true to you. So take the time to know you.
That's so true. So it's such a good, deep advice. And I hope people listen, at least, somebody like actually takes that just a sound bite and apply it in their life. And within a few weeks or months, they will see a tremendous change.
Yes. They'll stop being what everybody else wants them to be and go, hey, I'm pretty awesome. I've been hiding this. Let it out.
All right. So let's now, get to the nuts and bolts of how we can get the message out. Because, just like you, there are so many other people who have so much tremendous wealth of knowledge to share, but they don't know how to go about doing this. They don't know how to start a company. I always recommend people bootstrap, and if they have some knowledge, they can start there. But what will you recommend? What kind of tools they can leverage? In terms of social media, getting more exposure, how can they come out of their shell and share their gift with the world?
I think before they even get to the social media, what platform are you promoting? So, you are helping startups in tech. We did a wonderful show together. I invite people to come and listen to that because they'll know everything of why you're doing what you're doing and how you're doing it. But this is my platform, is to bring people like you on in the discovering communities and through self-discovery media. And that is to actually understand your why, your how, and if it resonates with someone, they go, this is somebody that can help me. Maybe somebody who can help me structure my site, somebody who can help me know what the foundation I need to build, somebody to understand the nitty-gritties of the people I need. How to interact with other people, especially as you're in tech. Tech can talk to tech, but they can't always talk to laymen. And so you need that speaker there that can talk to laymen. Get your fundamentals in place first. And I've got a wonderful repertoire here, 2,500 shows of people who offer those services. And that's the reason I do it. Go with somebody who's done it before and who knows how to help you build that. Once you've done that, understand it's not about just mass posting on Twitter or Facebook or LinkedIn. It is take some time out of every day to interact. Go and follow people on LinkedIn. For me, I say I've got a show for that. Somebody will post something. I've got a show for that. I'll post the show. You can post words of wisdom. You can post a solution to someone's problem. Learn to interact and understand that every single thing you do is you're building relationships. And it might be just a relationship of somebody following you and celebrating you and vice versa. It might be somebody that you end up doing a lot with or being very important to you or being a wonderful client. But the whole point, it is about taking the time and understanding in this world, like you would used to go out networking, exchanging cards, social media has become that networking platform. So always put your truth out, your authenticity out, show that you care and that you're interested in what other people do, and invite a conversation. Because when people feel they can converse with you, they feel they can trust you, they're more interested in what you have to offer, and so more interested in dealing with you.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, and that goes back to the point we were bringing up earlier, which is to give. So when you post on social media, don't it's not about you. It's about figuring out what people are struggling with and how you can help them. Not with any expectation, but just to give. And when you and then the other point is, as you raised, like interact with people. One post I recently made was, your social media content is like your showroom where you display all your goods, but the real work is happening in the back end, where in the warehouse, where you're talking to people and learning about their life and providing some solutions to them.
I mean, we met on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
You made a comment, I commented back. We wanted to discover what each other has did, and we set up a time to have a chat, and it's led to 2 shows. And now there's information going out that we're sharing with other people that we hope will help other people on their own journey. Exactly. If you're not willing to explore, then how will you know, right? And I also believe inspiration begets invitation. When you inspire someone, you're inviting them, right? We inspired each other, so we invited each other to know more.
Yeah, exactly. And one more thing is here, a lot of people, they go through social media. I mean, obviously, a lot of people spend a lot of time on social media, but they're lurking. They're just looking at the content. So one thing I found, that maybe please speak about this. Like, how can they overcome their own imposter syndrome or their own fear of rejection and jump in and just go with the flow? Because first few times it's not going to hit the nail on the head. They may not know what's going on, but eventually they get better. So can you speak about that, like for the novice who wants to get started in this?
Understand that everything is algorithm. Even we are, right? Again, when you know who you are, that's who you're going to put out. All the social medias have been designed as an algorithm to pick up what you're saying, who you're liking, and who you're interacting with, and will bring you more of those. People who complain about social media are going to the people who are the hate mongers, or the people that are just negative, or the people that are just sensational. If you're not responding to them, the algorithm will not give you them. So understand, always bring forth your authenticity. Always bring forth the truth of who you are and interact in that fashion. Make a comment and see how the comments grow on that. Like people and even friend them if you feel there's a synergy. Don't just like everybody or, friend everybody. Friend the people that you feel you have a synergy with and start building up slowly by slowly. But understand, what you put out is what is going to come back through that algorithm. So be mindful of what you're putting out and also always put out your authenticity of who you really are. Don't try and put out a facade of what you're not. People will see through that.
True, so true. Now, when you started your journey, I mean, social media is an enigma. Every day is changing. Yeah. Every day people come up with a new news flash. Oh, Instagram is removing likes or algorithm is changing. So what was your journey like? Did you have to unlearn anything as you were going into social media and trying to learn the ropes?
Facebook was my one where I really found the interaction. I found it was a platform where it is easier to interact and have a conversation. You can go over into Messenger, etc. LinkedIn did not used to be good. I wasn't friendly, so I wasn't going there. But if they've changed quite considerably now, and there is an awful lot more support and interaction and invitation there. Twitter is just something I use to post things, and I never find a conversation there. Of course, Google was there. They've taken it away because nobody followed them. They just didn't make it friendly enough. And Instagram, for me, I don't want to be working on my phone. I'm working on the computer all day. And, all it is just post, but where is the invitation for conversation? So, I've got 1,000 followers on Instagram. Great. Where is the relationship? Everything you do is always about building a relationship. I've got people following me on Facebook. Every time I put up a show, I've got people who take it immediately and share it. The same on my SoundCloud, which is my main platform. There I'm on other platforms as well. And the same on YouTube and the same on LinkedIn. They share it. And that's because the respect of each other's work. We share each other's work. We support each other's work. And remember, this is an online family you're building, right? So as you want respect, give respect. And follow a platform that you really do feel is interactive. And for me right now, it's Facebook and LinkedIn.
No, those are the two platforms I target as well. And I mean, that's another thing, every social media platform has some nuances, a certain demographic, certain way of doing things. So pick the one that you are most comfortable with and go with it.
Yeah.
And what you said was so true about relationships. I want to just make sure that we drill that in. It's human relationships are never going to change no matter what technology comes into play, because those have been around for millennia, centuries, and that's how the societies have been built. Whether we have a relationship in real life or online, it's the relationship that sort of takes you forward. Nobody lives in a vacuum, especially these days.
No, in fact, actually, we're being more exposed today on everything we do. And, people say, I like my privacy. Well, then don't put out what you don't want people to know. You can still interact professionally and just not expose your personal life, right? Again, it's what you put out is what you will receive. And that is in every aspect of your life. Every aspect. You put out negative is what you get back. Put out positive is what you'll get back. So if you don't want to do something, then don't put it out. Yeah. If you are not afraid of people coming back and knowing who you are, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I'm people's strong cup of coffee. I'm a specialty. You either get me or you don't. I'm not going to be offended if you don't. Right? And that's the thing. Stop trying to please everyone or capture everyone. It's not about the numbers that are following you. It's about the people that are participating with you that counts.
Yeah, you don't, exactly what you said. Like if you have 10,000 followers and you don't know anyone.
Right. Where's the relationship?
But if you know one person, like, in many, many cases, that one contact, then one conversation can lead to, things which you didn't even imagine were possible, right?
Yeah. Exactly. And, I'm sure you get as well. How many people listen to your shows? And my answer is this: all those that are needing to hear it. Because, even if 10,000 people so-called listen to it, how many people are hearing it? And I'm very much about when the student is ready, the teacher will come. And I'm very much about the podcasting as well. I have an Orchard of Wisdom library of shows here. And it's amazing how many shows from 6 years, 7 years ago will come up. And it's still relevant, the information. That means that somebody was needing that knowledge at that time. So we're building a library of wisdom with what we're doing. And it's going to be relevant to the people who are needing that knowledge at that time.
Yeah, true. Very interesting point here you brought up. Like, I started journaling a couple of months ago, and I found it very, very healing and very, very helpful. And then I stopped, and then I was trying to figure out why did I stop. And then I realized I'm actually journaling as I'm recording all these videos, these podcasts. It's basically an online journal, right?
Yes, yeah. I have a show every week, Sara's View of Life, and it's just what comes to mind. Yeah. And I just make a statement of it, whatever's bothering me or something I need to say, that's my half hour.
That's great. So what is your mission now? Like, what do you foresee where this thing is going for you now?
Well, Self-Discovery Media is merging into discovering communities. Okay. And discovering communities is exactly that, discovering communities like yourself that are making a difference in the lives of others through the work they do. Okay. Through that, we will also have a mentorship, a community mentorship program, where people will share their why story with us, but then they will also have their business platform of what services they offer. And that's the business platform that's up there as under mentors. I'm also going into podcast books, where the podcasting will be on the chapter the person has written, and then there will be the ebook and the written book, and there will be various topics of that. People who are in a certain line of business, they will all come together in one book. And there will be also some charity books, like I've got Investing in Our Forgotten Children, that's going to be coming out later in the year. And in the mentorship, we're also looking at more educational type platforms. So it's all being built at the present moment. It will be out sometime in February, and it's much easier automation. I will also have guest hosting, where there will be various guests that will come on, and people can pick the host of who they want to do hosting with, as well as permanent hosts also that have their other shows. So it's about expansion. There's so many answers out there. As they say, when somebody says, I'm going through this, I post a show. Take a listen to this. The answer you seek may be in there, right? And I think this is a big point that we need to point out. Stop looking for the quick fix. Yes. These shows that I do are an hour or more longer. That is somebody's lifetime of experience that they've put in that time. There are so many nuggets of information. And there may only be one piece of information that you come out with that is your aha moment, that is your shift. Yeah. But that just shows you a different direction, a different path to take. So be willing to invest in yourself, both financially, emotionally, and time, if you want to make a difference in your life.
Yeah, so that's so true. And you brought up this concept about community, right? Like, yes. Community is everything, whether you are in an offline scenario, online scenario, and when you put something out there and people start to gravitate, make sure that community flourishes, and,
yes.
and care for that community. It's not about just taking from that community. It's all about giving to them.
But the give is the take is the give.
Yeah,
I think that's what we have to understand, is that when I'm giving, I'm receiving because I gave. Yeah. And then because I gave, somebody else will give to me, and they will receive because they gave to me. You have to understand the exchange of energy. Yeah. And that quantum energy of giving and taking is something that it just really expands on the energies for both of us. So we have to understand, when we give, we're receiving that person's energy that is being expanded. So everything is give and take, everything. Not just take, folks. That's the society we're coming from, which we don't want anymore.
No, not at all. Now let's talk about entrepreneurs and what success means. Uh, what is your opinion about success? How it is generally defined these days, and how do you define success?
Well, I know it's generally defined of how many followers do you have and how rich are you.
Mm.
And I would just say those are people that are maybe more accomplished because they have the abilities to really promote themselves. And a lot of difference between success of entrepreneurs is marketing.
Mhm.
And goes back to the personality trait of who they are. I'm a person that's inclined to give a lot, and so it's not always well balanced in coming back. Something I'm working on. I feel really enriched and abundant through the work that I do. The financial side hasn't matched that abundance yet, but that's what we're working on. I think what we have to look at as an entrepreneur, what do we want to achieve? Yes, we need to make money, because without that, we cannot continue to grow. We can't put the roof over our head. We are going to be in a constant state of anxiety of not even being able to afford to be an entrepreneur. So look at the plan and start off slow. You can grow as you grow with your financial. Don't go out there all big, and you've got to build a reputation up. I've done this now in April, 8 years. I've built a reputation now. That reputation is literally one show at a time, one blog at a time, one post at a time. And understand you've got to build it up. Don't think you're the next big thing and everybody's got to go for you. Prove it by making sure people understand you are real and what you're doing is real. And look at what success means to you. Is it making a difference in people's lives? Does your clientele walk away feeling better, feeling wholer, feeling more accomplished? If then that's truly the payment. But obviously the monetary gain has to match that as well. But I think it's, why are you doing it? If it's fame and fortune, it's a very shallow thing, and you may reach it for a moment, but you're going to crash because there's no substance or foundation below you. So be willing to build that foundation, put the time in, put the work in, put the interaction in, get out there and meet people, do a lot of pro bono to build up your testimony and your clientele and your reference. And as you grow, then your financial can grow along with it. But why are you doing it is the big question.
Yeah.
It's not easy being an entrepreneur, is it?
No, it's not.
No.
But you know what? The thing is, like, if you just listen to these few words and really apply them, the path becomes so much easier.
Yeah.
I wish somebody gave me these few points, like bullet points, a couple of years ago. I would have been much easier. I would have been a much easier ride. But anyway,
but the point is, because you had to have the rocky road, you're helping people avoid the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
They're going to have potholes, but now they're going to have the knowledge of how to get over those potholes and not sink to the Grand Canyon. Yeah, right? It makes you a better entrepreneur.
No, that's true. I mean, everything happens for a purpose. Yeah. So, if I always say, if I didn't have those challenges, and if anybody who complains about challenges, if they didn't have those challenges, they wouldn't be where they are right now.
No,
right?
no. And that thing is learning the skills to manage the challenges. And, that's where I think a lot of things that entrepreneurs have to do. Remember to take 5 and take a breath. Yeah. Remember to stop, don't react, just take that deep breathing, center yourself. If you have to go out and walk for a moment, do that. Get yourself back to your center. Otherwise, you're going to panic about what is happening. And that's going to be from a panic state of mind. So remember to take the deep breath, walk away sometimes, come back with a clearer head.
Yeah. And so what will you say to people, who generally say, when I bring up these type of topics, they generally say, you know what, I don't have time for that right now. When I'm successful, when I've done this, like I will do this. Look at my plans. I'm going to open a charity. I'm going to do this and that. Like, what can you say to those people?
Wonderful to have a blueprint. Your aim is to have a charity. Mm-hmm. Your aim is to bring so much awareness to that charity because of the work that you're doing. If you do not make time for yourself along the way, one step at a time, you're going to be burnt out or sunk or one of those statistics. Mm-hmm. That's going to be gone. Understand those that make it are those that have put one foot in front of the other, have learned to jump over the potholes or jumped into them to get out of them. Yeah. We learn a great deal from mistakes, a great deal from adversity and challenges. We learn what not to do, and we learn what to apply. That is your strength. And if you do not take time for yourself during this time, I promise you, you will burn out. I think I talked about this in our show together, but my son opened a restaurant 2 years ago. And the first year he was there 7 days a week, no day off. He had 2-3 days off my daughter's wedding, and that was it. The second year, he could let go of the reins a bit, and he could take the morning off. He could go back to the gym, which he needed for him. It was to release his stress, to put him physically in better strength, to have that clearer mind. So when he went in there, he could troubleshoot. Through the flash rains we had the other day, his restaurant had to close because they were flooded. So, those type of things are going to come up. And if you're burnt out, or if you're exhausted, if you haven't given yourself the time, you are not going to function in those times. So please make sure that you have time for yourself. And if you have a family, make sure you designate time for that family, or that family will not be there by the time you reach your success.
Yeah, that's true. I've been guilty of that for sure. So tell us a little bit about, you brought up mistakes. So I'm sure, in every entrepreneur's journey, mistakes are made. Can you share some of your mistakes and what lessons were learned from those mistakes?
I've made many of them, and they've been wonderful lessons. When I first started out with my own platform, there really wasn't a platform out there for me to look at that, to do it the way I wanted to do it. So it didn't look terribly professional. I literally everything I've done is learning as I've needed it. Mm-hmm. And because I didn't have the money to bring in the professionals, and it was literally trial and tribulation. But to be willing to say, that was a mistake, I shouldn't have done that. Or, I can do that better. And, it doesn't matter what it looked like back then. It's where I am now and what I've learned from it, and know how to do things better. Don't get stuck in the past. Yeah. Don't get stuck in somebody else's judgment. I've had numerous people say, well, your site looks this, or your site looks that. How many people do I get a day that, sending me, I can make your site better. And what you're saying to people is their site sucks. That's not the way to do business. Yeah. Would you like to refresh your site? Yeah. Would you like to update it? When you're out there soliciting business, don't make the mistake of offending people first, right? Because that's a hard one to come back from. They're just going to go somewhere else. But own your mistakes. It's like if we have a glitch during a show, I own it. We had a glitch, we had a drop, we had a this, we had a that. And if you can cut it out in editing, great. And if you can't, own it, because we're all flawed. Mm-hmm. The beauty of the perfection of ourselves is in our imperfection, because that's what makes us unique. So stop trying to be perfect. Don't copy everyone else, because that's not you. Don't get caught in the trends, because those trends are out tomorrow. Yeah. Just like when you buy a computer, it's obsolete in 3 months, right? And it's to always stay true to you. And if you make a mistake, okay, you made a mistake. If you make a mistake with someone, apologize. Apologize. And remember that you were reacting with the information you had in that moment. Once you've learned something different, now you can go back and say, I'm sorry, I didn't realize, or that was not called for. My apologies. If they don't accept it, that's on them. But come at them with earnestly. So be humble. Be honest, be willing to make mistakes, be willing to learn from them, be willing to grow from them.
True, so true. One thing I just want to add here is, the mistakes that you make, if you journal them somehow, whether it's in a public arena, like on an online podcast or video, it actually serves a purpose, because when you look at those mistakes a year from now, you can see the growth that happened, right? And that is amazing feeling. It may not feel amazing when you made the mistake, when right. you expose yourself to that mistake. But when you see how far you have come, that's when you realize, because a lot of time we are so busy, we are so focused on today we tend to forget, where we were like a few weeks ago, few months
Right.
ago.
But, not only that, by sharing that, somebody else is going to read it or see it or listen to it and go, hell, I made that mistake and I beat myself up for it. And you didn't. It's okay. I can give myself a hug. I don't need to beat myself up anymore. Because Edison, you could say he had 999 mistakes before that 1,000 light bulb. What if he gave up? Don't give up. Sometimes I just call them not mistakes, but redirects. That's not the right way. So now try a different way. And you keep trying until, that's the right way. So were they mistakes or were they just redirects? That didn't work. Was it a mistake? No, it's just not the way to apply it. Try something different. But don't get caught up in the mistake. So redirect.
So one last question I want to touch upon is, you brought up vibrations and frequency, and I understand it at some level, but I'd love to know or ask you to explain it to the audience. What does that mean? Because in sort of layman terms, if you can, because
I can only do layman terms, love. I couldn't do scientific ones.
here's the reason, because I've heard that term many times, but I couldn't really understand what vibration, I don't know what frequency I'm on. I'm not like a radio signal. But then when I eventually got it, then, it became easier for me. So if you can explain those concepts and help people, understand how to understand these vibrations, raise the frequency and all that stuff, that'll be awesome.
So when you're actually in a state of negativity or down, you're resonating at a very low vibration. It is not invitational. It pulls you down like a gravity. When you step into something like kindness and caring and love, it literally lifts up your frequency. It lifts up your vibration, and you want it to be up at a 580 hertz minimum, because that is at the base of the love vibration. When you're on that higher vibration, those good vibrations are resonating out. They lift people up within your vicinity. They draw people to you. People look to things that are possible instead of not possible. And it's just a general frequency and vibration and ripple effect that goes out of positivity. Now, scientists used to look at people who were spiritual and just go, la, it's all fake. Scientists are now beginning to understand that people live at a spiritual level are resonating at a higher frequency. That frequency that is closer to the love frequency. When you're in that love frequency, you do not and cannot knowingly do anything wrong or harm to anyone. It is against your very core. It hurts you to do so. If we could raise everyone's frequency up to a higher vibration, everyone, imagine what a better world we would live in. We wouldn't be living in the anger or the hate or the discord or the dis-ease, because disease comes from disease, hate comes from fear, fear comes from a lack of knowledge or a fear of persecution. Those are low frequencies. So in order to come out of that, which as a human nation we need to do, we're hurting our planet, we're hurting each other, and at this rate we're going to make ourselves extinct, because Mama Earth is going to kick us out. She's already proving to us that she's not happy with us and the way we're treating her. So it is about raising up that frequency, stepping into kindness, stepping into caring, stepping into love. And remember, love has to start with you. So start being kind and caring towards yourself. Find that self-love within you and exude it out. Now you are actually resonating at a higher frequency. You're sharing those good vibrations. You're at a higher hertz, and you're going to lift everybody else up around you. It's like, when you're amongst people that I just love being around them. They lift me up. That's exactly what it is. They've stepped up into a higher frequency, a higher hertz, and they're resonating at a level that is so invitational. And we want some of that. And we can all achieve that, because we've got to remember what we feed, what we water, what we seed will grow. And if we grow the discord or the pain or the suffering, that is going to grow. If we water and seed the possibilities, even if you are living in challenges. I live with the disease. It's with me every single day, but every single day I look to what I can do, not what I can't do. What I can do today, despite the challenge. And it's always feeding the possibilities. And that positive attitude will help you get through anything in life because it's raising your frequency. Those are my layman terms.
Great. I didn't have any words after that. So that was amazing. Thank you so much. And I hope people get that. This is important work, and it has the ability to change not only your life but lives around
Yes.
lives of people around you. Your family, your friends. It actually creates a ripple effect. It's amazing. It's amazing the feeling you get after you get into this mode, right?
Yes. I mean, we know, why do we go to movies? Why do we play music? Why do we watch things that uplift us? Because we're looking for that frequency to be uplifted. Why do we congregate to people that choose to live in a positive realm? Because we want some of that too. So we've got to realize it's not something we can demand from anyone. It's something that lays within us. And if we want it, we've got to work for it. We've got to do the work that takes off the coat of pain and suffering and discord and fear and everything else, and be willing in our beautiful vulnerability to walk forward in trust and in light and in love of self and everything else. And it's not la la la. I am completely aware of the atrocities in the world, completely aware of them. But at the same time, I choose to feed the possibility of love that I know that can overcome the hate.
Yeah, that's great. Great. Well, thank you so much. This has been amazing conversation. A lot of good thoughts, a lot of good education. I hope people listen to this and apply it. It has the potential to change people's life. I can guarantee that for sure. So please listen to this episode very, very carefully. Listen to it over and over again if you need to. And again, if you need any help in understanding, unpacking anything, applying anything in your life, and you cannot understand it, please reach out to Sara, reach out to me. We are happy to help. You move forward in life. So
and please come and listen to your show on my network. All they have to do is go to SelfDiscoveryMedia.com and put in your name. You're under building your business genre, but just put in your name and your show will come up. So if you're looking to start up a tech business, please reach out, because you most certainly know how to do it. And you've taken the knocks and everything else, and you know how to help people avoid that. So please go and listen to his show as well.
Thank you so much. That brings me to that question, like how can people reach out to you? So you mentioned your website, but what are other channels how people can reach out to you?
So the discoveringcommunities.org is in play. It will be coming alive in February sometime towards the end of the month, and that community will have everything on it. But yeah, you can still go to SelfDiscoveryMedia.com, and this is where these shows will be here. It will also lead everybody back to the other site when it's up and built. You can contact me at info@SelfDiscoveryMedia.com. I'm on Facebook under Sara Troy 88, and there's Self-Discovery Media, also Facebook, and on LinkedIn it's Choose Positive Living, and Twitter is Positive Livings, because I've been many names in many different businesses at different times.
Well, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you. And that's all for now. Until next time. Now, if you're an entrepreneur or a career professional, then I invite you to join our growing community. Navigate to bootstrapping.group. As a welcome bonus, you will get the Startup Founders Technology Accelerator video series and Mastering Your Inner Game video series absolutely free. This series of short videos address some core issues which are instrumental in helping you move forward in your business or career. The videos are yours to view and share for free. No obligations or strings attached, except for one. You have to take action and implement it. So join us today. Navigate to bootstrapping.group. If you want more engaging videos and insightful interviews with industry's thought leaders, then check out the other videos we have picked for you. The link is right there. And if you want to be notified about our new content, please do consider subscribing to our channel.